and a Republican. He, too, points out the joy this decision could bring in the Kremlin.
The President's dismissal of General MacArthur represents the Kremlin's greatest victory since Yalta. It greatly strengthens the Soviets' position in Asia and greatly weakens the position of the United States. This action by the President enormously increases the danger of all-out war, and particularly endangers our position in Japan. No one should be surprised if Japan, the Philippines, and much of the rest of East Asia now come under Soviet control, unless even more of America's limited military strength is thrown into action against it. This move by the administration is likely to do just the opposite of what they have said they are trying to do. It will expand rather than contain the war in Korea, because the removal of the #1 bulwark against communist expansion in Asia will cause millions of people there rightly to conclude that communist victory is practically inevitable, and that they might as well get on the red bandwagon right away. My concern is not for General MacArthur.
A recent development of major importance has been the discovery of vast oil deposits in many parts of the Middle East. These oil fields have been developed largely through foreign capital. The payment of royalties has bettered the financial position of some countries, although ownership of the oil fields has caused considerable political unrest. Much of the oil is exported in its...
Oil is found mostly in Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq, with several pipelines for the transportation of oil. Some is refined in the Middle East before shipment, and a growing number of...
I'm very glad to be able to take part in this celebration in St. Louis on Human Rights Day. Ever since the Declaration of Human Rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, was passed in Paris in 1948 on December the 10th, we have fostered the observance of this day not only in the United States, but throughout the world. The object is to make people everywhere conscious of the importance of human rights and freedoms. The reason for that is that these are spoken of and emphasized in the Charter of the United Nations, and the Declaration was written to elaborate the rights already mentioned in the Charter, and to emphasize also for all of us the fact that the building of human rights would be one of the foundation stones on which we would build in the world an atmosphere in which peace could grow. For that reason, all over the world, we've encouraged the associations for the United Nations to observe the whole week before United Nations Day comes around to explain United Nations and what goes on in that organization. And when we come to the celebration for human rights, we try to particularly have people study the Declaration so that they will really understand what were considered to be the most essential rights for all people to have throughout the world.
The American Heart Association presents America's most versatile singing star, Miss Jo Stafford.
Hear that, folks? The sound of a heart. A great heart. A heart called America. It's going strong and has been ever since its first baby beat back in 1776. That wonderful day in July. It's a long time ago. Faces are different, styles have changed, but the heart is the same. From Maine to way back home in Indiana, it's beating that same strong beat.
Specially designed germ-carrying bombs could be dropped.
Germ-carrying bombs could be dropped.
Germ-carrying bombs could be dropped. Enemy agents could contaminate the city water supply.
Hiroshima です。1945年8月6日、この町の上空に原子爆弾が投下されました。あの日と同じように美しく流れています。
By this time, the communist champions of the Negro race had hidden the revolutionary ideas and slogans for a Soviet Negro Republic behind the humanitarian banners of jobs, security, civil rights, and peace.
Good morning. Here's the news. Civil Defense Headquarters announced today that the sharp increase in the number of cases of illness during the last few days have led authorities to suspect that a biological warfare attack may have taken place. As yet, the cause of this outbreak has not been identified. Civil Defense health authorities recommend that you should take the following precautions.
If such an announcement is made in your city, don't give way to fear. Just remember that scientists would already be working to control the outbreak.
Phase 1 was well on its way. Now it was time to implement Phase 2. Create the appearance of popular support. Beguile the people of the United States and the world into believing the pious fraud that the civil rights uprising, led by a handful of agitators, was a popular movement of the whole Negro race in the United States.
No, sir, I haven't. I think that you need. I think you have to awaken the public to the fact that they are here and what they're doing. And I think the underground, of course, they've always got reasons for not doing anything to them. I mean, they're underground or they're a liberal. And they thump their chests and they're liberals. But if you mention that you're opposed to the Communist Party, then you are anti-labor, you're anti-Semitic, you're anti-Negro, and you always end up with fascist.
Or Nazi or anti-Semitic.
But they never start that until they find out
constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind.
By duping the American public into turning a deaf ear to the voices of warning because the topics were controversial or because the patriots themselves had been ridiculed as extremists, racists, fright peddlers, the conspirators were ready to move one step closer to their hidden goals by precipitating mob violence.
The recovery of those already sick would be speeded up with the use of modern drugs. Mass inoculations might be necessary to keep the disease from spreading. This would require the cooperation of everyone.
Here before the committee, speaking for the films, Eric Johnston, president of the Motion Picture Association, talks frankly concerning the attitude of the producers.
We're accused of having communists and communist sympathizers in our employ. Undoubtedly, there are such persons in Hollywood, as you will find elsewhere in America. But we neither shield nor defend them. We want them exposed. We're not responsible for the political or economic ideas of any individual, but we are responsible for what goes on the screen. We guard that with great care. If communists have attempted to inject their propaganda into the motion picture, they have failed miserably. We will never
demonstrations
permit them
across the country.
to succeed.
And as Martin Luther King said, violence was unleashed. Then, accordingly, the federal government intervened and a vicious legislative step on the road to tyranny was enacted in the form of the Civil Rights Bill of 1964. In the United States, the communist plans call for two revolutions at once. A revolution of a supposedly oppressed proletariat or working class against a capitalistic system that is supposed to breed wage slavery, unemployment, poverty, crises, and war. The second revolution is a revolt of the supposedly poor and oppressed Negroes of the Black Belt against the supposed lynching, segregation, social ostracism, and exploitation of the white man. Divide the people. Get them fighting among themselves rather than their common enemy. Create the appearance of popular support. Through a favorable press and the use of terror, intimidation, and the creation of martyrs, make the world believe the revolution is a popular one, particularly among those being liberated. Neutralize the opposition. When obstructionists to the cause become too irritating, label them as fascist, Nazi, anti-Semitic, extremist, racist, controversial. Precipitate mob violence. Get the mobs into the streets. March and demonstrate. As the demonstrations grow in number and intensity, they will acquire political character through the desired collision and open combat with the forces of law and order. Since mass action culminates in insurrection and civil war, what of the fifth principle of the communist strategy? Create the semblance of revolution.
Responsibilities are a privilege, an inherent American right, the strength of our nation. The bright hopes of a free world are founded on the dedication of individual Americans, people who guarantee freedom by standing ready to fight against aggression, against the communist attempts at world enslavement. Freedom is not hereditary. It must be earned. Freedom has a price, and its price is vigilance. Its price is responsibility, not only of government, but of every citizen who salutes our flag. Those who serve as a part of our nation's armed might, and those who have served, they guarantee freedom's continued existence. Freedom. No single word in all the languages of mankind has come to mean so much. Freedom to enjoy the simple things of life in the circle of family and friends. Freedom to work at a vocation of our choosing. To vote in open election for the candidate we believe best qualified. To come, to go as we please. Freedom to own property. To enjoy the priceless heritage of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To marry and raise a family with belief in the dignity of the human spirit. To study in the field of our choice. To speak our beliefs. To worship God. These freedoms that spell America. They represent a way of life that has become the farthest advancement of mankind on this planet. The world community is always threatened, as it is at this very minute, by predatory nations poised to destroy, to devastate, to enslave the world's people. To prevent communism from consuming the entire free world, there stands but one man. That man is you, the individual, the American. You and millions more like you. As our military might guards the continued existence of freedom and peace under God, our strength and shield is you, the civilian who respects his responsibilities, and the American in uniform. You, the individual American soldier, and the United States Army, a force for freedom safeguarding our way of life.
As long as our soldiers and sailors, airmen and marines are skilled in the use of modern and efficient weapons, fired with imagination to adventure into the future, the chains of communist slavery never will close on the free world. Because there stands that one man. That man is you.
We also urge you to resolve first that you will not fall victim to the communist plot to set race against race, American against American. And second, that you will now join with other patriots in a positive program and concerted action to save for our children and their children this once glorious country and humane civilization which we ourselves inherited.